Then that moves us on to B, that's Human Resources Board reports. And we have item 6A. I have two requests to address item 6A. The item is ratification of a contract for contract administrator. I'd like to call upon Wendy Lack.
Is there going to be a staff report?
I'm sorry?
Is there going to be a staff report?
Is there staff report on this?
I don't really have anything to say.
No staff report.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to speak regarding this contract because I think it's unreasonable and out of touch with reality. You should reject it, and here's why. First, the cost. By any standard, $53,000, which is the cost estimate that I've been provided by the district. It's an outrageous sum for 2 months' work. It exceeds the average annual income of residents of this district. It's a 15-page term paper at a cost of about $3,500 a page. An appropriate expenditure? No. Any reasonable person would say absolutely not. Surely there are better uses of district funds, and frankly, in talking with my neighbors about this, you know, this would be funny if it weren't so serious. The second reason why you should reject this proposal is the policy waiver aspect. What does it say about an organization when its leaders play by different rules than everyone else? In this case, district policy requires that 2-month sabbaticals must not cause additional expense to the district, and yet the chancellor proposes this policy be waived for her. At best, this is hypocritical. At worst, it communicates to district employees that policies are applied selectively and are ignored altogether when convenient for those in powerful positions. The proposed policy waiver reveals an arrogant attitude, and frankly, it's reminiscent of billionaire tax cheat Leona Helmsley, who famously said, "Only the little people pay taxes." Approving this waiver would equate to this board saying, "Only the little employees must follow policy." The third reason why you should reject this is a conflict of interest, or an appearance of one. Most importantly and troublingly, this contract looks like a conflict of interest and abuse of power. It smacks of cronyism because it appears to be a scheme to puff up the resume of Chancellor Benjamin's widely rumored hand-picked successor. I don't know if that's true or not. I just know what I hear people saying. Offering Mr. Williams 2 months of experience as an interim chancellor looks like a good old boy move to give special preferential treatment to a prospective chancellor applicant that undermines the objectivity of the selection process we just discussed. If accurate, this is wrong because it uses the power of the chancellor's office to manipulate and undermine the integrity of this election process, and giving Mr. Williams $53,000 for 2 months' work on top of the special privilege of this interim assignment is disgraceful. The chancellor's actions reflect badly on the district and demonstrate poor judgment. It's indeed ironic that Chancellor Benjamin proposes this underhanded backroom deal in order to pursue a study of equity activities. In sum, this proposal is unacceptable. It would establish a potentially harmful precedent regarding district policy. It gives an appearance of favoritism and manipulation of the system by giving special favors and unfair advantage to those powerfully connected. It brings discredit to the district by damaging its reputation, and as an unnecessary expense, it's a misuse of district funds. I expect this board appreciates the serious implications of this proposal and will reject it on its merits. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person that requests to speak, Marquez.
Thank you. Good evening, governing board members, president, staff. I'm Mike West. I'm the Local 1 unit president for the classified employees of the district. I too, my membership has concerns. The Contra Times article woke up a lot of people. We have known for many months about a sabbatical. I have the utmost respect for our chancellor. She is known and respected from Washington, D.C., through every women's organization I know, the academic world, and she has done a wonderful job for our district. I don't know how an interim that doesn't know the job can sit in her chair for 30 days to collect $23,000 and do the job she does. In my world, when we have short-term absences, the board approved actually last year a temporary duty assignment of additional duties, some but not all of the duties, because I don't think anybody can replace our chancellor. So we give 5% of additional pay. My assumption, and assuming is bad, but the effective staff she has created and the team she has, we approved a new position, 2 executive vice chancellor positions here in a reorg several months ago. I think Mr. Gene Huff, who I work with all the time, I have ultimate respect for his decision-making and representing this district and the board in our daily business. Executive Vice Chancellor Mojda. These are all people that have current understanding of what's going on in the district right now, whether it be litigation, whether it's accreditation, whether it's student equity, whether it's finances. So I really don't know how effective the use of this $53,000 for 1 month, take off a month, come back a month, can really be as far as use of money. And I close with saying, I still have, out of 32 people that have lost money from budget reductions, I still have about 16 out there that are not even whole. And most of us are living on 2003, 2004 salaries. So all I can say is it's custodial of taxpayers' money. I think with the way this is politically now being perceived, the board should reject this item.
Thank you. So we've heard the speakers. Was this discussion on this?
I gave you a card too, can I talk?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had it on a different. Yes, okay, I'm sorry. Yes. Jeff, Dr. Michaels. Sorry.
Thanks. I just wanted to say a couple of things. A number of people have asked me what I thought, including a couple of board members, so I thought maybe I would just stand up here and say a couple of things. I think that the subject of the Chancellor's sabbatical is important. There's a lot of emphasis being placed on professional development these days, and I don't know that we're very good at it. And I think a lot of what we've been talking about in terms of equity comes down to training, and it's a challenging subject, and I'm glad that the Chancellor wants to pursue it. Also, on behalf of the faculty, I just want to say that we support sabbaticals. We think sabbaticals are important. They're not just paid vacations, they're important. They're a way of recharging and reconnecting with the things that we're passionate about. And I like the idea personally, and I think the faculty generally like the idea of sabbaticals for managers. I think sabbaticals for classified staff would not be a bad idea. The sabbaticals are in the Bible. They're a core idea of how to keep people productive. So I like that the Chancellor's taking a sabbatical. I'm glad that the board is supporting it. I wish you were going for longer, Helen. 2 months of sabbatical is not enough to recharge fully, but still, I think it's a good idea. And really then the question comes down to whether this is the appropriate way to replace the Chancellor. When faculty go on sabbatical, there's actually a range of ways we replace faculty. A replacement for a faculty member on sabbatical typically is not going to earn the same amount of money that the faculty members on sabbatical would earn. But we sometimes replace people with part-time. We sometimes decide we need a full-time replacement because the department has needs and we're going to pay somebody at the full-time rate, not the part-time rate. And I think that's an appropriate thing for the board to deliberate. I agree with what Mike said. If you left this district in the hands of Gene Huff and Mojda for a month, we'd be all right. That'd be fine. People would have confidence in that. We have confidence in MAC too. I can't judge, but I do think, again, from the standpoint of the faculty union, equity in pay, pro rata pay makes sense. We don't always have it, but we do fight for it, so I'm certainly not standing up here to tell you that you shouldn't pay Mac a percentage of what the chancellor makes for the couple of months that he's here. It's a little wishy-washy, but I just wanted to share my thoughts with you. Thank you.
Thank you. We've heard the speakers. So what's the pleasure of the board? Who wants to speak first?
Right.
All right, Madam Secretary, you first.
I want to thank the board, our board president, and our chancellor that originally came to us in March and had some questions and concerns, and it was pulled so that we could vet this out in a way, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate the diversity and the diversity of opinion on the board, and with all the equity things that we've gone through and the respect that we give one another. And I agree with everybody who stood up here and said that you are an amazing chancellor. We are so fortunate to have you, and you deserve the sabbatical. And I really do feel that, in fact, I am going to be supporting 6B. I think you deserve a sabbatical. And we did hash out the issues, and I have unfortunately not changed my opinion on the contract. I think this contract is, for an interim chancellor, the job is different. You look at the job that they're doing, and so I do not support the contract. It seems not to match up quite with the job, but more importantly, I think that I am very much wed to our policy on this, and I am not in favor of waiving the policy, and I agree that I think we could possibly, because it's a 4-week period with a break and a 4-week period, it mirrors in my mind a little bit closer to the vacation that we've done in the past, and we've used this, we have the president, we've used management to fill in, and I'm very confident that they can do a good job. And I'm hoping that that might be the way that this board will go. At this time, I will be voting no on 6A, both waiving them and on the contract.
Thank you. Any other comments? Trustee Enholm?
Yes, I will say that I agree with everything that Trustee Gordon has said, and I also will be voting no on this. I do want to amplify, though, that I do believe that it's very important to understand that when we're changing a procedure and we have a regular schedule for changing procedures, we really should stick to that. We should not waive a policy. Actually, one of our commenters said that if you don't like a policy, just get rid of it. So I also agree with what Mr. West said, is that this creates a situation where are we creating a precedent for selectively waiving policies in the future? So that I want to emphasize that I do not believe there should be any expense to the district for interim chancellor. If we could get one for free, I would support that. Also, I want to, again, amplify one thing more that Trustee Gordon said, that I strongly support the policy that we have had, that when our chancellor is out of the county either on business or vacation, the standard practice has been to have a senior administrator, usually at the district office, become acting chancellor. I strongly support that practice because it gives those administrators a broader perspective on the district beyond their areas of responsibility. And I believe that our senior administrators have acknowledged that it does make them better at their jobs to have that broader experience.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I've got a quick, I think you're right, everybody said it. We absolutely have the hardest working chancellor in the history of chancellors, I believe. It's evidenced by a recent evaluation. She's really done a great job for the district. In fact, this board has asked her to take some more time and or hire an assistant chancellor. But you know, she chooses to do the work herself. I think it's great. I appreciate this innovative plan to take and enjoy a sabbatical. I think it's a win-win for the district. I think it's still a little more work for the chancellor. She has to work during her hopefully vacation. The idea that a vacation is more palatable is not realistic, because the position would still have to be backfilled. We talked through having staff backfill the position. It's done when she is out of the office, and I think that's a great thing. I think the staff is more than qualified to do that. For the month long, we've discussed it. I think it would be less disruptive if we had somebody come in. I think Mac was a great idea. He's familiar with the district. He actually has a lot of experience in the district, and I think he'd be helpful. He actually helped get Feather River College going up in the mountains, so I know he's qualified and can handle this. The idea that it would be cost-effective to have her position backfilled by staff, I don't think is realistic. It actually could be more costly, and it would be a lot more disruptive. The sabbatical procedures provided for in the Ed Code is a common practice in higher education. And I think we need to be careful when we listen to rumors and conjecture that we're being spread. I think it's more important that we've got to be careful when we're spreading rumors and conjecture about the replacement. Because anything I've heard is not true. Anyways, I asked the board to not make this a political issue. I'd like, it's about a sabbatical for our most valued employee. It's deserved. She's earned it. She has the right. And we've asked her to do this. And this is a very innovative way of doing it. And I'd like to support it. And I'll move the item when it's appropriate.
Well, any other questions or comments on the item? I think I agree with the president in everything that he has said, and I agree with the thoughts that we should not be talking conjecture here. The thing about this item coming up now again is not because we put up with it. We put it up at the request of the chancellor at the time, who had changed her mind about going on sabbatical. But since that time, she has indicated that she's interested in it, and that's why this item is back on the agenda. And again, it was discussed before that we would replace her for the 2 months with someone who come in who would not need training, but someone who has experience. And so I'm prepared to hear a motion here. So there's a motion that's been made. Is there a second to the motion? Is there a second to the motion? I'll second that motion. So therefore, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the recommendation. What's the pleasure of the board? What's the vote? Soon trustee does not vote, right?
Roll call vote.
Yeah, okay. We'll have a roll call vote.
Mr. Marquez?
Aye.
Mr. Nejedly?
Aye.
Ms. Gordon? No. Mr. Enholm?
No.
Mr. Rinn?
No.
Mr.
Okay, so the motion, the recommendation fails, and so I want to thank you for your comments. That can take us into item 6B, and I would allow, before we have any discussion on it, since it appears that the issue is moved at this point, there's no replacement for the chancellor. So I would just simply ask if she is still interested in.
I think we'll pull that item off the agenda based on
Okay.
recommendation of the chancellor.
That's, okay, so.
I would object to that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what?
I think we should vote on it.
Yeah.
If it passes, then I will.
Well, that doesn't
I think we
prevent us
should
from,
still.
you can always change your mind afterwards. I think that if it's on the agenda, we should vote for it.
Yeah.
Or cancel it.
We don't have to replace it for the chancellor now, so
We can entertain the
Well,
option.
that's something to be associated afterwards. If an item that's on the agenda should not be pulled unless the majority of the board wants to.
That's fine. I agree. So we will not put the item, and so we had already heard from speakers. It's a revision to the sabbatical leave application. All of us have had discussions on it. We've read the information that was provided to us. And
I move approval.
I'll second 6B.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve 6B. I have a question on this item. With due respect to my colleagues, I think that you can approve a sabbatical, but if the person who is destined to take a sabbatical paper does not want to, then why are we going into this,
Because it's an item on the agenda.
and items can be pulled, Mr. Enholm, you know, you've been an elected official and you,
Authority to go to the board. And I'll appeal your ruling to the board if that's your
you
desire.
have been an elected official in your time as well as I have and others here on the board. And items can be pulled anytime, and it does not have to be voted upon without any respect. Now, if the person, the subject of this item has indicated that she does not want to go on sabbatical, then why are we going through the motion just simply to do it? I mean,
Well, I'm happy to appeal the ruling of the president so that the board can vote on whether we want to have it pulled from the agenda. That's standard parliamentary procedure.
okay, all right. So
I
then,
mean, Jean could just speak to the conditions on the sabbatical, and because we didn't include it here, but in the first one, there's one that's already approved.
Requires two things. It's a suitable replacement and that secretary enter into an agreement with the chancellor to provide 2 types of service.
I'm not understanding, I'm not hearing you, sir.
So there are 2 conditions for awarding a sabbatical. There's an agreement that has to be reached and there has to be suitable replacement identified.
So one of the elements is missing in the next on 6B. We don't have a suitable replacement at this time.
This was actually approved initially back in February, under the conditions that those 2 criteria be met. This modification was just a change in dates, essentially. Those 2 criteria had not been met to this point.
Right.
They would
So
satisfy
there's no
that.
suitable replacement, there's no replacement, so then there's no sabbatical.
Well, I think we're approving the modification of dates at this juncture, which is what 6B is, right?
Yeah, because we left the.
But it's clear she doesn't want to take it.
I get that, but I think it's important for us to have a vote of
That's fine.
approving what she's requested, and then it's her opportunity to decline it once it's either been approved or denied at that juncture. And then I think it's at her leisure if we approve it or not. She has that option to still deny it.
All right,
Is
so
that right?
I've heard the discussions on the motion, and again, it's on the agenda. We will vote on it, and of course, it's always a prerogative of the chancellor whether or not she will take a sabbatical.
Move the item.
I'll second that again. Oh, it's been moved and seconded already.
Yeah,
Been moved by
second.
trustee Enholm, seconded by trustee Rinn. So all in favor of that item, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? No? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. That takes us back to item 7A.